Hey everyone, Andrew here, bringing you another video review. Today we're going to be doing my comic load for the week, as well as news, updates, questions, answers, and everything and anything and everything that falls in between. And as you can see, I'm in a very St. Patty's Day getup, minus the Aquaman sweatshirt, but it has green and orange on it, so kind of went with it. Yeah, St. Patrick's Day is coming up tomorrow, and my wife and I are going in Boston, so I'm getting all styled up in the theme of the holiday. Because St. Patrick's Day is incredibly important to me because, I don't know, St. Patrick's Day is one of those weird holidays for me. I don't drink at all, so that basically takes half the fun out of it. And I know St. Patrick's Day didn't start off as a drinking holiday, but it's kind of turned into it. Kind of like how Valentine's Day isn't really a holiday about buying stuff, but it's turned into a holiday about buying stuff. But the same thing about Christmas. That's why I like holidays like Thanksgiving and 4th of July for many reasons. One, 4th of July because it celebrates the independence of our country, but because I don't really have to buy anything or do anything outside of whatever I want to do. Same thing with Christmas. Not Christmas, Thanksgiving. I just sit down, eat, and relax. How could you not love a holiday like that? But hey, I still like St. Patty's Day because I am half Irish. I've been to Ireland, so I feel as though I'd have a little bit of my finger dipped in that cultural pot. And I do have a St. Patty's Day shirt. But just to show you how much drinking is associated with St. Patrick's Day, there's not one St. Patrick's Day shirt when we went out that wasn't associated with drinking in some way. Look at this one. It's a cat drinking. And it has some bad words in it too, but it kind of works with the theme. But we're not talking about St. Patrick's Day here. No, no, no. No four-leaf clover in this video. This video is about comic books. We're going to be talking about comic books. And we're going to start where we always start, with just a little bit of Batman in our life. With Batman issue number 29. Continuing Batman Zero Year. And coming to the end of the second arc of Batman Zero Year, which would be the Dark City. And basically, in this story, Batman gets a bat blimp, which is pretty freaking awesome, and he takes on Dr. Death, trying to save Gotham from being destroyed by Riddler's riddles. See, Riddler is challenging Gotham, pushing it to its limits, and Batman is the only one that can stop him. But this isn't Omniverse Omega God level superpower Batman that we all know and love. No, this is Batman still young, still green. No pun intended. Still green about how he works and how he operates. And the Riddler can still get the top and best of him. So will Batman succeed, or will unfortunately he just be a little too little, a little too late to save Gotham? And exactly what will happen to Dr. Death? Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. Good. The tension is incredibly high in this story. And I also love the action that goes on in this. The fight between Dr. Death and Batman is a great one. Really shows why he's such a dominant villain, and why he can challenge the best of villains, the best being Batman. The opening section is very beautiful, with, again, dealing with Batman's family, his father and his mother, right before the death of his family. And if you read any of the interviews with Greg Capullo, you see a lot of themes in this having to do with cross signs. Particularly if you look, there's cross signs in the background here. There's going to be cross signs here. I don't know if you can actually see this. We move on, and I am missing the pages. But as you get to the scene where he gets his parents get shot, there's cross signs there. So there's cross signs all over the comic, and that's one of the themes he puts in there. Bad done. Batman Zero Year is great. Is detached from the DC universe, which is nice that it's kind of doing its own thing. And in addition to that, it's a great modernized reinterpretation of Batman's origin. And I think this is taking the best stuff from all the Batman's origins, whether it's the Bill Finger Bob Kane one. Notice how I say Bill Finger first. And way back in the day, to the Silver Age retelling of it, to the Bronze Age retelling with Frank Miller, to this retelling. It's taking bits and pieces from all of it. So I do love that. Moving on to Nightwing issue number 29. So this is essentially the end of Nightwing. We do get one more issue, but that's more of a fallout issue with Nightwing after Forever Evil, and it's not written by Kyle Higgins. This issue right here kind of deals with, well, the end of Nightwing and deals with acceptance and moving on and grief and not just loss and death via family, which is kind of the overarching theme here, but also the fact that the story is coming to the close and Nightwing as a character is coming to the close. And Mrs. Zaz shows up, and Mrs. Zaz is always a great creepy character. I think my favorite Mr. Zaz dialogue, not from this comic, but just in general, is when he's telling, I believe it's Jeremiah Arkham, that he has a special spot right in his eyelid mark down, put the little etching in there because every time he blinks, he just wants it to itch to remind him of Jeremiah Arkham. Uh, but yeah, so basically, this is a closing for Nightwing, and it's just so sad to see this comic come to the close because I love Nightwing. Nightwing is one of my favorite characters. He's in my top three favorite comic book characters of all time. And whether Nightwing dies or his personality completely changes, that's up in the air. But the fact of the matter remains is this is a great closing on Nightwing as a character. And I don't see why DC feels as though they need to change Nightwing if they are, or kill Nightwing if they are. But this comic is awesome. Pick it up. Moving on. Next is Batgirl issue number 29. So this is continuing the Silver story arc, which deals with this vampire hunter that thinks that the Bat family are vampires. I'm not going to go too in detail about the actual plot itself. What I can say is the good stuff about this issue is that the plot gets a lot better. There's a few twists and turns and some really nice, shocking moments. Not like, oh my god, shit, Batgirl's really a boy kind of shocking moment. More like, oh wow, they actually went in that direction. So it does have some twists and turns in there that's nice, and the overall story is more well developed in this issue than the previous one. Bad is that the dialogue isn't quite as good as the previous issue. It's not bad by any means, no, but I just like the personal touch that Barbara Gordon had in the previous issue, and very much more dealing with Strikes too. And Strikes is a really fun character, and although she's not Cassandra Cain, she is as good as a substitute as you're going to get. I do like this issue, and I will give it a 4 out of 5. And Nightwing gets a 5 out of 5. I forgot to give it a ranking. Moving on, the next Bat title is Batman in Little Gotham. And this is the last of the Batman in Little Gothams. And like with all of them, it's lighthearted fun. It deals with Condiment King and the history of Batman and yeah, all that fun stuff. Pick it up. This is a fun, nice little series to read off on the side. Jumping over to the other side of the fence, we are going to do a new Marvel title that I thought I'd give a chance, and that would be Captain Marvel issue number 1. Now, I don't know as much about Captain Marvel as I would like to say I should know. The most I know about her is that she was Ms. Marvel. I used her a lot in the Marvel Ultimate Alliance video game, and that she seems to be a very well loved character. So I thought, hey, maybe she's this universe's equivalent to Wonder Woman. I'll give her a shot and see exactly if she's worth reading. Not saying I'm going to constantly compare her to Wonder Woman, but I mean, she's a strong female character, a member of the Avengers. Let's give her a shot. Good stuff about this is Captain Marvel as a hero is slightly different from what I expected, but in a refreshing and good way. She's not all about truth, justice, the American way, blatantly flat out and honest in your face. She has a bit of an attitude to her, and an attitude can be a good thing sometimes. The costume design is good, and the art in it is good also. I particularly like the dialogue that goes on, and the whole entire concept of the comic is set up very well after the first few pages. Bad. What I don't like about this is that this basically, I guess, starts where the last story ended. And for doing this whole number 1 thing is great for sales, I'm sure, for Marvel, but it's horrible for fans because I went into this saying, okay, this number 1, they're going to at least ease me into this comic and show me what Captain Marvel's about. I wasn't so much lost as confused to some things. Why is she doing this? Who's these people right here? Why is she in the Statue of Liberty? Who are the people that are in the Statue of Liberty with her? Is she going out with the War Machine or Iron Patriot or whatever he's calling himself now? Exactly what is going on? Why does she need to go into space? Was there something traumatic that happened previously? These Marvel Now's number ones, while great for sales, are horrible for jumping on points at some points. I still recommend this to someone that may want to try Captain Marvel because it's not as bad as some other comics that are introducing things, but there's a lot of stuff that I was just basically confused on. On a whole, I will give this a 3.5 out of 5. Enough for me to want to pick up the second issue, and I do like Captain Marvel as a character, so we'll see where we go with her. Come on, guys, give me credit. I'm trying to expand my repertoire with Marvel characters, but Marvel is not making it easy for me. Moving on is Constantine issue number 12. I almost said 16. This is again continuing the Forever Evil story arc, Forever Evil Blight, and not much happens in way of this other than we see more of the backstory with John Constantine and with Nick Necro. And while it is presented very well, and there's some interesting stuff that goes on in this issue, on a whole the issue itself really doesn't do anything. And what I mean by do anything is it doesn't push the overall plot forward that much. So in saying that, I'm going to give this issue a 3 out of 5. Middle ground. It's good, it's fun, it's nice to read, but it doesn't really move the plot that much forward. Moving on to Fantastic Four issue number 2. So the Fantastic Four has to help out all the different superheroes in New York. I want to say, where are they? Manhattan. I should probably figure that out because they actually say, um, yeah, New York. My bad. I should know this stuff. Basically, there's these bunch of alien-like things coming from an extra-dimensional thing that basically Reed Richards and Sue Storm's kid made, and they have to go and stop them. And while doing this, one of the Fantastic Four has to sacrifice a part of themselves to do so. Who is it going to be, and how is it going to happen? I don't know. Good, bad, and whether or not you should get it. Good is I thought the overall dialogue in this was much more solid than the last issue. There's some action in this, which again was kind of missing from the last issue, except for against Big Fang Foon. And it's moving what I think is the overall plot is going to be. Bad is I think the ending was kind of predictable. Once Reed Richards says to a person, "This is going to have some side effects on you," I knew exactly what was going to go on. In addition to that, why they were in red. I love red, but for some reason, the Fantastic Four just does not look good in it. But in those two complaints aside, this is a much better issue than the last one. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Green Lantern Corps, issue number 29. So, basically, John Stewart trying to get the Green Lantern that can shapeshift to work with him against the other army of aliens that can shapeshift. Guess there's two races of shapeshifters exactly. I'm not sure, but that's what I'm getting. And that's the basic gist of the issue, them trying to get that shapeshifter to come and work for them. Good is fun action, good dialogue, good art. Bad is I just don't care about the plot. That's just the thing. Um, Although this is probably one of the best written of the Green Lantern stories, and it does a fantastic job with Jon Stewart as a character, the overall plot these past two issues really hasn't been all that great. I want to see them kind of step out of theirs and do their own thing with the war again. I know they're doing their own thing with the war here, but I'm just not feeling it as much as beforehand. 3.5 out of 5. Pick it up. Let's move on. Superboy issue number 29, continuing Marv Wolfman's run on Superboy in the future, working with his clone thingies, and yeah. So the good stuff about this is I like Marv Wolfman's interpretation of the Superboy. I like the characters that he introduces. That kind of remind me of the Legion of Superheroes, but only distorted and tweaked in the wrong way. Does anyone else get that feel from this? If not, then just let me know. But yeah, I do like the characters that he introduces here, and there is a slight bit of resolve. Um, and also, Superboy gets sent. not Superboy. Well, he's Superboy for now. Gets sent to present day. Bad is again, I'm not really too interested or compelled by this story in the future. Future stories really don't roll with me that well. There's very few that do. For example, we're going to go into Justice League 3000 eventually. That story rolls well with me, even though it's a future story. That this one not so much. But hey, that's just me. Um, but yeah, on the whole, I've been enjoying Mark Wolfman's interpretation of this Superboy. I would like to see him do Connell, and why they got rid of Connell, I don't know. But hey, shit happens. Hopefully, he comes back. Also, a 3.5. Moving on to Wolverine issue number 3. So we get to learn a little bit more about Wolverine and why he's in the predicament he's in, and the choices he's making in his life to basically go to be more edgier or not to be more edgier. And we kind of see a lot of things come together. Good. What I like about this is it answers a lot of questions for me. It does a very good job at delivering that, and I think it does a very good job at delivering Wolverine's position in his life, not only with his dialogue but with his actions. Bad is the only bad is that I cannot honestly believe that Wolverine would be so scared of getting hurt that he wouldn't be able to move. Wolverine has been fighting since the late 1800s. He is one of the oldest mutants. Natural reflexes should have just had him dodge out of the way of certain attacks. Hey, that's just me. But that's not a horrible thing. The only other bad thing I can say is while they do a fantastic job with the in the past, like a month ago kind of thing. The current stuff with him, with his people that he's working with now, the bad people that he's working with now, I don't think they really divulge too much into, and they need to flesh that out a bit more. Because, see, with the stuff that they flash back to, you can do that sparingly, and it makes the reader want more, while having Wolverine do all this dark stuff in the present day. I think they're doing a reverse of what they should do. With saying that, it makes it just this shy for getting a 5 out of 5, gets a 4.5 out of 5. The Wolverine series, however, has become a lot more interesting, and although I was hesitant on it in the first issue, by the third issue, you started winning me over. Pick it up. You want to talk about something that's always a 5 out of 5 because it's always good? And this isn't blind love, my friends. Let's talk about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Issue number, what, 32? Yeah. So Leo is back. Although still a little shaky on whether or not he's 100% back, he and his brothers fight together to take on this winged assassin sent by the Shredder. That's the issue. But it's an awesome issue because this fighting, this drama, this suspense is basically a front to back fighting issue. But they deliver everything ever so nicely. May the odds ever be in your favor. Let's see if you guys can figure out which movie I just watched. Yeah, it was a great fight with some really intense moments in it, and TMNT. Again, I cannot stress this enough. If you are not reading TMNT, you're missing out big time because it's one of the best comics out there. Let's talk about a comic that's really kind of won me over. That would be Superman and Wonder Woman, issue number 6. So in this issue, basically, Superman and Wonder Woman fight Feor and General Zod, but Wonder Woman basically says to Superman, "Hey, listen, we work together, and we need a plan going in here because, well, I'm pretty well trained, I'm not as strong as them. And while you're as strong as them, you're not as well trained. They kind of have the best of both worlds. We got to have a weapon to fight back. So a special armor is made by Hephaestus that does a certain special trick for Wonder Woman and Superman. In addition to this, Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship gets taken to the next level in a very Star Wars Empire Strikes Back kind of way. You're gonna realize once you actually read it. And the final page in it is incredibly ominous. I showed my wife afterwards. She's like, "Wow, that's kind of sad and creepy at the same time." Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. The action is great in this. The drama is great, and like I said, Superman and Wonder Woman's relationship gets taken to the next level. And for a reintroduction of Zod into the DC universe, I think this is a well-handled one. So I do like that. Bad. I can't honestly say anything bad about it. Um, Maybe the fact that they're wearing this armor, and it would have been nice to at least have a hint that the armor had something special to it instead of seeing at the end having something special to it. But just think bind attack with Pokemon, and that's basically what the armor does. 5 out of 5. Superman Wonder Woman is a stellar comic. Uh, Justice League 3000. So we get to learn the true origin of the Justice League, and they're not clones, but they're not the original Justice League. There's something in between. You're gonna say, well, Andrew, how can they be something in between? If you're not a clone, you're the original Justice League, and if you're not the original Justice League, you're clones. It's either or. No, there's something in between. We get to learn the origin of the Justice League. We get to see Flash get brought back from the dead, and a new Justice League 3000 member get introduced. The stakes are high, and the stories are quirky, and there's a lot of tongue in cheek going on in here. Good, bad, whether or not you should get it. I think it's good to finally know the origin of the Justice League 3000. The reintroduction of Firestorm in this team is pretty cool. And it's good to see Flash come back along, as well as seeing some great moments from Green Lantern. The only bad with this issue, and another good is the dialogue is just spot on. Keith Giffen loves just talking and talking and more talking, and there is nothing wrong with that. The only real bad with this is, although we get the origin and it's a good origin, I don't think it was delivered as well. It would have been nice if we had some flashbacks to it too. It's just dialogue giving the origins. But in saying this gets a solid 4 out of 5. Justice League 3000 is a fun little side title for people to read, and it's kind of a guilty pleasure of mine. Not saying it's bad, to make it a guilty pleasure, but it's just something so different that I didn't think I was gonna like it. I thought it was just, hey, let's put Justice League on something and try some random shit. Speaking of random shit, actually, I'll get into that later. Never mind. So Justice League of America issue number 13. This is basically the moment of truth issue. And when I mean the moment of truth issue, we kind of basically see Stargirl's journey, for lack of a better term, end here. We get to see exactly what's happening. How does the Sparrow play into all this? How does the Justice League get free? All that kind of fun stuff. Good is there's some great moments with Stargirl in this, and the character gets developed. Bad is they screw up one way and they make it obvious that the story is going to go this direction rather than this direction. And you will realize it because when you're reading, you're going to go, that's not right. Well, that person is not supposed to be there. They're supposed to be somewhere else. Something doesn't feel right here. And then once you start reading, you're going to figure out, well, this shit's obviously not real. It's either bad communication on DC's part, or obviously this is something else. I'm being very vague, but yeah. Justice League gets a 3 out of 5. Justice League of America. It was okay, but it wasn't really anything good. In saying that, time to get my Andrew Cutter picks of the weeks out. And I think this is an easy week to get some picks. Actually, it's kind of tough. But I'll do this. Number 3 goes to Nightwing, issue number 29. The end of Nightwing, and a good end at that. Although there's another issue that's coming out that's basically going to be the fallout of Nightwing in the DC universe with Forever Evil. So I'm not too particularly keen or worried about it. This is basically Kyle Higgins' end to the story arc, or end to his run, and a beautiful end at that. Hopefully Nightwing will come back in some way, some form, with Dick Grayson at the helm. Will it happen? We'll see. You can't keep a good Nightwing down. Number 2 goes to Superman and Wonder Woman. Like I said, this title is just startlingly good. You'd think it would just be silly, dealing with their relationship and all that fun stuff. But no, it's reintroducing Zod, it's reintroducing Feor, and we're leading into the Doom story arc, which is going to be a huge, massive cross-title story arc dealing with, well, Doomsday. So yeah, this is great. But number 1 goes hands down to Batman Zero Year, issue number 29. The extra large issue to this feels hefty. It makes the next series of stories more and more compelling and more interesting, and I think Zaryu's doing a fantastic job at retelling the origin of Batman. So those are the comics. News and updates. We get more images of Flash in his costume, and boy, does it look good. Is it a little dark? Yeah. Could there be a little bit more yellow? Yeah. But you know what? It's a good costume for what it is, especially in the universe it's going to be in. We also get images of Constantine for the new Constantine TV show, and I like it. It is spot on. It's so close to looking like the character. Almost there, but pretty darn close. So I'm really looking forward to the Constantine TV show and the Flash TV show. I think DC is doing a very good job with their TV shows, and I think they're gonna tie this universe together in a very nice way. Uh, so there's some news. Oh, and a new comic coming out from DC, which I am particularly interested in, is Infinity Man and the Forever People, both of which are Jack Kirby creations from the Fourth World. How are they being introduced into the DC universe? I don't know. So it should be interesting to see the that comic kind of jump in, and it's going to be a comic that I'm going to jump on and grab. And Captain America Winter Soldier is coming out soon, so that's another thing that I'm going to have to watch. I'm actually very excited for it. And although I never read Ed Brubaker's Winter Soldier story, I kind of don't want to just because I think I'll enjoy the movie more that way. That makes sense. So yeah, that's basically on news. I do have a special surprise kind of for you guys, but I'm not going to tell you guys what it is because I want to promise you guys I'm going to make it happen. But I can't do that if I make promises and they don't happen because my schedule is just so screwy that anything can happen. And I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default. Oh, and I've also watched the new Pokemon Origins movie. Awesome. They treat Pokemon kind of the way Pokemon should be treated. I think for example, they don't say their names; they actually growl and make cries, which is awesome. Like Charmander doesn't go Charmander, he goes Rawr, which is pretty cool. The action is great, and it does a very good job at delivering the origin of Red, which is pretty cool. Oh, and the fight scene at the end with Blastoise and Charizard and Mewtwo. Really cool. Watch it if you get a chance. Spends too much time on Lavender Town, but still watch it if you get a chance. I hope they do a sequel of it. I really do. So yeah, that was pretty fun. That was pretty fun. But yeah, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Bravely Default, and I almost I'm also playing a lot of Donkey Kong Tropical Freeze. But I do think the new Yoshi games come out, Yoshi's New Island, which is something I'm gonna have to pick up. I have it pre-ordered, but I just haven't gone out and got it. Anything else on the table that I haven't talked about that I wanted to? No, that's about it. My yeah, that's really about it. So let's get into it. Let's do the Andrew Cutter Battle Royale for this week. And the Battle Royale suggestions is coming today from Green Arrow Hunter, and he suggests Battle Royale Brainiac versus the Boar Queen. Now that's a match that I would like to see happen. So for those of you that don't know anything about my battle royale, basically it's me pitting two characters against each other and determining which character I would think would come out on top. The rules are very simple. Number one is no character can be used multiple times. So for example, I've already used Doomsday. I can't use Doomsday again. So you got to be careful on your choices. Number two is they can be characters from any form of fictional media and then just let's have them fight. So let's get things going. Start things off from Brainiac from the DC universe. Brainiac is an individual with a 13th level intellect. That means he's really smart. Brainiac is basically an alien that goes around and collects cities, models them, and destroys the world and collects the data. He does so for multiple different reasons, but in the New 52 is to protect those worlds from the angels from the fifth dimension. It's kind of a silly reason, but anyways. Brainiac's overall goal is to collect more and more data, not only to protect it, but also to make himself the most powerful individual in the universe. While doing that, Brainiac has altered his body in so many different ways, shapes, and forms that he has gone beyond the physical standards that his alien race can have. He has enough strength that he can actually hold his own against Superman, and he has enough durability that he can survive most attacks. Brainiac's true skill is, though, in his intellect. Brainiac is, like I said, a 13th level intellect. He's incredibly smart. His brain is like a supercomputer, being able to think, then outthink, then rethink, and overthink all situations that need to be taken care of. Brainiac also has a wide range of technology to his disposal. Most notably is his Brainiac drones, which are mainly just robotic copies or slave droids that he uses, and two is his Brainiac ship, which is a flying skull with tentacles coming out of it. Yeah, it sounds kind of very G.I. Joe Cobra-ish, but that's basically what he has for his repertoire. He can access, download stuff, put viruses in computers, and completely shut down systems if necessary. He has a wide range of defenses on his ship, which include blasters, shields, and many, many different warheads. And in hand-to-hand combat, like I said, Brainiac is no stiff because Brainiac has taken and incorporated all the accumulated knowledges from these worlds that he has basically bottled. So he has a lot of skill in his hand, which he's going to punch through stuff. Brainiac's greatest weakness is his inability to adapt to extreme circumstances. Brainiac thinks himself to be so smart, so powerful, that there is no circumstance that he can't adapt to, but when put into a circumstance that he's never faced before, or facing a creature that can just plain flat outthink him, he often loses. That also ties into his arrogance. Brainiac is incredibly arrogant. He has an ego the size of, I don't even have an analogy. It's pretty damn big. So that's Brainiac. Borg Queen. Borg Queen is the, let's say, how can I describe this? Borg Queen is the leader of the Borg, but she's kind of like the epicenter of the Borg. The Borg is supposed to be this collective that works together and thinks, but she's really the one pulling the strings. The Borg Queen has at her disposal a race of assimilated beings. Basically, the Borg themselves. Borg cubes, Borg spheres, Borg martinis, everything. She has a humongous army at her disposal, and the Borg Queen, like with most Borg drones, can assimilate anyone on contact by injecting them with nanoprobes, which was always quite a scary thing to think about. The Borg Queen, unlike her drones, is very emotional. She can hold vendettas, and she does have her times of anger, sorrow, or happiness. The Borg Queen is incredibly intelligent, again, similar to Brainiac, accumulating the knowledge of all the races that the Borg have assimilated, which is honestly a lot more than what Brainiac has accumulated from the planets that he's bottled. There are thousands of races that the Borg have assimilated. Her Borg ships also have the ability to adapt, an incredible ability that not only the Borg ships but the drones have. That if someone attacks them in a certain way, whether it be with a phaser or with some kind of virus or with anything whatsoever, all it takes is one or two shots and then they'll quickly adapt. They have the ability to make force fields or countermeasures against these attacks. The Borg Queen in herself also has an increase in strength and agility. Not quite to a superhuman level, but equivalent to that of almost like Data as an android. She's basically a robot with really strong hands. So, what is her greatest strength? Is her ability to adapt and her incredibly large army that she can use against Brainiac. I mean, she has thousands upon thousands of Borg cubes and billions of drones that she can throw at him. Her disadvantage is that just physically she is weaker than Brainiac. If Brainiac ever got into a tussle with her, she would lose. That, and despite the fact that the collective is a relatively unemotional being, she is fairly emotional and does hold vendettas. The reason why she lost in first contact is because of her obsession over Jean-Luc Picard. That and she was going up against Jean-Luc Picard, who is a fucking genius, so you're gonna lose no matter what. But the fact of the matter remains is she can allow her personal feelings to get aside from her. How that would play against Brainiac is up in the air. Now, who do I think will win in a Andrew Cutter Battle Royale? Well, that's a tough one. The Borg Queen definitely has the masses to her advantage and the ability to adapt to things. But at the same time, Brainiac has the ability, is quick in thinking, and can quickly disable her defenses with computer viruses. Yeah, sure, eventually they'll adapt, but all it takes for him is to get in there, fly in, and destroy her. In addition to that, I don't think Brainiac would ever really be assimilated. Even if they use the nanotechnology, I think Brainiac would be able to fight through it. In addition to that, the droids would be nothing to him. They're like slow moving zombies. Brainiac's a superpower on the strength level near Superman. All he needs to do is just punch his way through things. So this battle goes to Brainiac. While he may not have the resources as strong as the Borg, he definitely has the power against them. His ship would be able to destroy the Borg's defenses long enough for him to get in there and destroy the Queen. If you have a suggestion for an Andrew Cutter Battle Royale, just post it down in the comments. I take suggestions from you guys, and then I play it out in my head. So there we go. Moving on to questions and comments. My mouth is dry. I need a drink. So basically, what you guys can do is post down in the comment section comments or questions, and I will respond to them, and I respond to all of them. So let's get things rolling. Soul Drum 86. Hey Andrew, what if the Justice League movie they introduced the Crime Syndicate and they team up superhero movies, and then some other action movie they always seem to go up against an alien invasion route to bring the team together. It is a little redundant. If DC is doing things different from Marvel, why not have the Justice League come together to stop an evil team of people who can match their strength and powers? Vengeance was great, but it really was just a fight against aliens locally. Loki, I don't want to see alien creatures alongside Darkseid, at least not yet. Plus, we've already got Justice League War. I can kind of agree with you on that. I feel as though the whole alien invasion thing is kind of redundant. I don't know if I would use the Crime Syndicate, although they would be kind of cool to see in the movie. But maybe an Injustice League. How cool would it be to see the Justice League go up against the Injustice League? To see Joker, Lex Luthor, Cheetah, Black Manta, and all these other characters show up. Be pretty darn cool. Honestly, I think the first movie with Superman and Batman is going to have to deal with Lex Luthor and something that he does. It's going to be very Earth centric. I don't think the Justice League movie though. Wouldn't it be kind of cool if it all like circled around Doomsday? Keep that in mind and thought. What if Doomsday was the main villain of the whole Justice League movie? Be awesome. And it was really Lex Luthor in the background manipulating it. Be pretty cool. Uh, Evil Mastermind, to respond to your question, some characters are still missing that have not come back that I like, and some that may take a while too to come back because their parents are too young in the New 52. Damage, the question, Elongated Man, Tom Bronson, Iris, Osiris. I agree with Elongated Man. Question has already returned. Are you talking about Renee Montoya? And then what are your top five Generation 2 Pokemon? And you gave me a list to go by this. I thought I did this last time. Um, but here we go. Top five favorite Generation 2 Pokemon. Maybe it was Generation 3 that was done. Anyways, I know at the top is going to be Crobat and Blissey. Those two motherfuckers I love to death. Crobat and Blissey. So that's number one and two. I'm just going to look at the list now. And thank you for providing me with a list. Uh, Bellossom would be number three. I love Bellossom. A great design. Not a great Pokemon, but a great design. Uh, Kingler would be number four. I really think Kingler looks cool. And then last, the number five is going to go to Umbreon. So Crobat, Blissey, Bellossom, Kingdra, not Kingler, Kingdra, and Umbreon. Those are my top five. Moving on. Nick Lenz. Hey, Andrew. Four questions for you. Whoa, Nick, you're mixing it up. You're throwing four in there. First, when are you going to do a tour of your new room? When I get a camera that I can do it on, basically that. That and I'm constantly changing my room around. I'm going to try to get some more shells right here. You can't see it, and introduce my villains into my superhero section. But I will do a tour once I get everything settled. Second, are you looking forward to Son of the Batman movie? Captain America, Winter Soldier, and Batman and X-Men: Days of the Future Past. I'm looking forward to Batman. I'm looking forward to Son of the Batman. Captain America, I'm very excited for. Days of the Future Past, yeah, it looks good. It's, but I'm not too thrilled. Third, have you thought of reading Essential Wolverine's book in the miniseries by Frank Miller and Chris Claremont? Vaguely, I tangled with the idea, but it comes down to time, and I just don't think I have enough time to back read all that. And there are currently 7 of them. Fourth, what new code name will Dick Grayson start using after Forever Evil, since everyone knows that he is Nightwing? Good question. For some reason, Night Runner kept on coming to my name, but that's the Batman Inc. character. That'd be a cool name. Um, what about Night Shadow? You gotta have Night in there. Night Shadow. That's an idea. I'm not really good at making names, so yeah, I'll go with Night Shadow. That'd be pretty cool. Apollo 4524, great video. Are you watching Game of Thrones? If yes, what are your thoughts on it? No, but I might start up. One of the things that I have problem with is I always have to read the original source material before I read adaptations. Example, I had to read the Harry Potter books before watching the Harry Potter movie. Another example is I read the Warlord of Mars book before I went into the movie or the comics, or I wanted to. Get another example. I read comics before I get into video games or comic book movies. I like source material better. So I wanted to read the Game of Thrones books before I actually got into the TV show. But because I don't have the time and because the Game of Thrones books are like the size of a dictionary, I think I might just watch the show on the whole. I heard it's still very good even though you don't read the books. Mr. M9991, great video as always, dude. Thank you. I got a suggestion on your next Battle Royale. Wanted to see your input on Shredder in his Foot Clan versus Ra's al Ghul in his League of Assassins. Holy shit, that's a good idea. I should do that. Maybe that might be the next one. Wade Wilson, Ra's al Ghul has chronic. Are you doing this? Okay, never mind. Rachel Gould versus Conor Mac. I can't pronounce that last name. Basically, the Highlander. Is that who you're asking? Yeah. Uh, and Conan the Barbarian versus Beowulf. That's actually interesting. Also, what do you think of Teen Titans cast that will end up in their run after their run? Do you think that they'll get their own book or just end up being supporting characters for bigger titles? And the last question, do you think that the big reveal of what the crime syndicate is running into is just going to be recycled old villains like Darkseid and Anti-Monitor, or will writers create a new and original villain for the New 52? As for the Teen Titans, I think the Teen Titans book will end. I think the characters will take a hiatus. I think that eventually they'll come back into something bigger. Either a large crossover event or the title will be revived. Either case, I don't think the Teen Titans will. I don't think we'll see as much from the Teen Titans in the future for like another year, and then they'll come back with something else. As for what the Crime Syndicate is running into, I think it will be a recycled old villain like the Anti Monitor. I honestly think it's the Anti Monitor, and I'm okay with that because I wouldn't mind them doing a new version of the Crisis or the Infinite Crisis or the Crisis on Infinite Earths and retelling it in a new format. So, moving on. X Valis, 3 questions. Number one, how did you come up with your hey yo? Number two, do you have any info on how big of a role Tommy will play in Legend War? And last question, a while ago, I was sent to my comic store and read a random Spike comic where he was basically captain of alien spaceship. Can you explain why Spike is commanding aliens? And last battle royale suggestion: the Daywalker Angel versus Blade. Is it question number one? Hey Yo came from Scott Hall. My buddy was a huge Scott Hall Razor Ramon fan, and we would always watch videos of people prank calling other people pretending to be Scott Hall. Try to find them; they're pretty funny. And he would always go, hey yo, hey yo, Hogan." So my buddy and I adopted that for a bit. We would always say hey yo to each other when we enter, and then I just kept it for my videos. I like to think it's a good way to attract people's attention and it's a good way to remember me. Number two, Tommy's role in Legend War. It's Tommy. I'm sure he's going to get a big enough role in the veterans and overshadow all the veterans because that's what Tommy does. But no, I really don't know what Tommy's role is going to be in Legend War. And last question. You went to your comic store and about Spike's comic with the aliens. I read only one issue of that mini story. I kind of have it on my backload of comics to read. I just haven't got to it. Where is my backload of comics? I don't know where I put it. Oh, it's over there. It's in my backload of comics to read. So I don't know why he's commanding aliens, but he is. Mario Baldio. Andrew, great review as always. Thank you. I have a few questions for you. What are some good Red Hood stories? Well, you have Under the Hood, which is probably one of the best. Then you have Red Hood, The Missing Years, or what was it? The Lost Years, or something like that. The one that was done by by Judd Winick, which was actually pretty fun. And then, of course, there is Red Hood and the Outlaws, which is a really fun series story. So I would pick up all those. Number two, what's your favorite Superman costume? To be honest, I like the new 52 one. I think it's the best interpretation. I think it holds true and strong to what Superman is in a modern time. Three, you are never going to read Guardian of the Galaxy, are you? I just don't have time. I've been trying to, but every time I've gone to go do it, I just haven't had a chance. And number four, what do you think of Guardian of the Galaxy's trailer? As always, keep up the good work. I have not watched the Guardian of the Galaxy's trailer yet. I will watch it after this video. I just don't have much interest in the Guardians of the Galaxy. But hey, that's me. Moving on. Green Arrow Hunter. Hey, I have a couple questions. First, which DC character would you like to write? Wonder Woman or Batman. But I mean, Wonder Woman. I also wouldn't mind writing Cassandra Cain. I would like to reintroduce her in the DC universe, but Wonder Woman. Second, in which universe would TMNT fit better? Marvel or DC? Probably Marvel. Third, which DC characters should Rocksteady go do a game after Batman? Deathstroke, because they already hinted to it. And last questions, douchebag 612. Nice name. I'm sort of new to comics and been reading for about the last 2 years. Right now, I'm currently reading throwback old school best of the best from Batman, Superman, Green Lantern. My question is, should I read Forever Evil? It sounds and looks good. Yes, you should read Forever Evil, but I would read it when it collects into trade. Because Forever Evil jumps into Justice League a lot, and I think when they collect into trade, it's going to be a lot better of a read to new readers of comics, but it has been a fun romp. So definitely check it out. So that is my video for this week. If you have any questions at all, post them down below. Any suggestions for the Andrew Cutter Battle Royale, post it down below. And have a happy St. Patrick's Day. This is Andrew saying peace out.